there's a part of me that feels like, well, if I go and just hook up with some woman that I'm not really feeling that way about, and then I'm walking around with that energy activated in me, I could be sitting across from my person and she's gonna be like, you ain't my person.
Because it's like all of your focus is over there.
Yeah.
What about all the work that you've done to have that wife energy and those desires of wanting like a real partner? You think those just like...
I think there's a part of me that does. There's a part of me that is afraid that with like one wrong move, it's all fucking gone. I am so grateful that you are here, tuned in to this episode of The Shift. Do me a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It takes 2 seconds. I'm going to wait. Can you do it? Okay. You clicked it. You clicked it? Great. Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Love you. Peace. Welcome to The Shift with Ben Brown. This is my guest, Amanda Adili.
Hello.
Sex therapist in New York City and also a friend of mine. And I'm really happy you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. As I've told you that this show is called The Shift, and the reason I named it The Shift is because I think that the shifts that we have in life are so interesting and important, and that they can be so helpful to other people who are listening, who might be experiencing a shift of their own, or might just be finding themselves in a place where they're depressed and they don't know why, and they're having some struggle or some pattern that keeps coming up and they're not exactly sure what to do or even where to begin. And my hope is that through hearing stories of people who have had shifts of their own and now find themselves in a place where it doesn't mean that they're, everything's perfect, but that they are in a way better place than they were before and still working through stuff, that they might be able to listen to this and actually leave the show with a sense of hope, with a sense of not feeling so alone, and maybe even a tangible action item that they might be able to take away and be like, I heard Amanda say this really cool thing that she did that really helped her when she was at this low point of her life, and I want to try that, So I would love for you to, I don't even want to direct you. I just want you to tell me, why are we here right now in these chairs?
Well, I think you have made significant shifts in your life, and I appreciate you giving back in this way. And that's kind of how we met, right? Like in different shifts. Well, I'm a kind of a high functioning person that hides in plain sight really well. Like I learned how to do that really well. So when my life was becoming unmanageable, I didn't even recognize it. And most people, no one recognized it actually, until I was in a relationship with someone whose drinking was unmanageable for that person and for me. And I didn't recognize myself. I was drinking a lot and not taking care of myself and just doing things that in my, most grounded, highest self, I would not choose to do. And shit got really intense. And I asked that person to go to therapy.
You were, how many years ago was this, roughly?
16
years ago?
16, yeah.
Okay. So you're in this relationship with this person who has a drinking problem. And you're concerned with their drinking.
I'm concerned, yes, because that's what I'm concerned with other people.
Right. But you also had a drinking problem.
I had a drinking problem. I didn't know that I had a drinking problem.
You didn't?
No, because I would show up to work. I had friendships. It didn't look like what I thought a drinking problem is supposed to look like.
What was the difference between the way you were drinking that made you think I don't have a drinking problem versus your partner who you said did have a drinking problem?
I didn't wake up with tremors, and I didn't wake up grabbing a beer out of the fridge, and I wasn't hospitalized.
Okay.
And where I would pull out the IV the next day and go out from the hospital and drink again. It didn't look like that.
Right.
But it was my own version of that, I would then smoke a lot of weed, and then I would eat a lot, and then I would become really low, depressed, down, like a lot of negative self-thoughts. So
kind of like what? Do you remember some of them?
Like what's wrong with me? Why am I such a fuck up? Or why can't I have my shit together?
And at that point of your life, the idea of having your shit together, do you remember at that point what having your shit together might have even looked like?
I think on the outside, it would have looked like me and this person could show up to events sober and maybe move in together, maybe, commit ourselves, maybe have a family, possibly, and not like going home and hiding some of these behaviors and drinking or smoking in isolation. It would look like what I considered what would be like a normal person's life, like go to work, come home, go out to events. Don't come home and smoke or drink or go to a party and drink to excess and try to carry my partner into a cab home, only to have them, puke and clean that up and think I must be doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would feel a little more carefree.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't feel like that. It felt like things were really heavy. And it felt like this person had a problem that I couldn't fix. And it was my job to fix it. It felt very clear that that was my role. That was my responsibility to help him. And I couldn't do that on my own. And I felt like I had lost then, like I had not, like something was wrong with me if I can't help this person. Because I really, not in a conscious way, but felt like I was receiving my self-worth through others.
Say more about that.
Well,
Receiving your self-worth from others in what ways?
Like if I could help someone be a better person, I'm a better person. Well, you mentioned something about a takeaway for a possible newcomer. I snort people. That's really what it comes down to. It was hard for me to just be with me in whatever state I was in. It could be happy, it could be low, it could be anxious. I felt like I always needed another person to be there. Whether I was taking care of them or making them happy didn't really matter. It was hard to be with myself. You know what I mean?
I do. Very much so.
Do you?
Yes.
I think you might.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it manifested differently for me. I was probably more of the one receiving the person. I was more in the getting taken care of. But I was never, I didn't have that. I wasn't the low functioning.
Yeah.
I was always high functioning.
Yeah.
I never got to that point where I was, tremors or anything like that. Anyway, so
Well,
not about me.
What's so cunning and baffling about this stuff, these dis-eases, is that, that person showed up as a CEO to their job every day too.
Wow.
So it's confusing, it's not like what it looks like in the movies or TV necessarily. Addiction.
So at what point in this kind of dynamic that was happening between you and this person did you start to have a realization that something needed to change?
I remember this moment crystal clear, and I don't share it with everybody, but I'll share it with you.
Okay.
And all of your listeners. I was at the 59th Street subway station in Manhattan, Columbus Circle, and this person was trying to get into the turnstile, but they were so fucked up. They had a really hard time doing it, and they begged me for like an anti-anxiety pill. And they didn't have a prescription for it, and I did. And I tried really hard not to.
Wait, who was this person?
This was my partner.
This was your partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
My boyfriend. And very short-term relationship. 1 year it lasted. Not the longest that I've had, but a very significant one that I'm really grateful for today. And he was in a lot of pain, and I could not bear to see him in that pain. And I had something that could get him out of that pain, albeit, temporarily, but I wasn't thinking about that. I was just like, I can fix this. And I gave it to him. I pulled it out and I looked at it, and I knew I was going to give it to him because I had before. And I was like, oh, this is fuck. My life is what is this? Who am I? Like, this is not okay. to be medicating someone in this way. Like, I'm not a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my place.
At this point,
At this point, yeah.
right, yeah.
And I felt such like agony seeing someone else in such pain. But I was like, it was really hard to be with my own agony. That was a bottom for me, like not recognizing how enabling I had been with him and many other people up to that point. So I got him a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and his therapist told me that I needed help and I should go to a program, a support program for people who struggle with the same issues that I was struggling with. And I told her to go fuck herself.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because of course
maybe
it had nothing to do with
it had
you.
nothing to do with me. I wasn't the one that had the
Right.
problem. He was the one that had the
Right,
problem.
right.
He was the one
I'm
that had
just Nurse
tremors.
Jackie.
Exactly. I'm just as like a kind Samaritan, like
Right.
helping a guy out.
Right.
You know, my therapist said, "Oh, that's not such a bad idea." You know, and I really trusted my therapist. I'd been with her for a while, and I went begrudgingly, and I walked in to a room, and I started to hear people speak in a way I'd never. Mm. Yeah, it was so real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people were telling these stories that some I related to and some I didn't, but, like, I was like, "Wow, this is for real." Like, people are really vulnerable. And then I just cried. I cried for, like, 6 months, and I sat in the back of the room, and I didn't speak. I just cried. But it was really cathartic, and it felt safe for some reason, even though I didn't know anyone in there. And it was, like, fucking early in the morning. It was 7:30 every morning, and I kept going, and I there must have been something there for me to receive if I kept going at 7:30 in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. And then I started to feel a little more comfortable there to raise my hand and share a little bit about my experience. And people came up to me and encouraged me to speak. And that's kind of always been really hard for me to talk about the hard things. Like, talk about not the hard things, but the what I would consider like would have been embarrassing or shameful. Um, and that's where I have a history of hiding. Like, I'm pretty good at hiding, but in there it was kind of hard to hide.
Was there a connection that you see between the way you were raised and this hiding? Is this something that you were taught?
um Implicitly, yes. Like, there wasn't like well, there was some explicit, like, don't talk about what's not working, make sure you present well. And just for all of the records, I have a very close, loving relationship with my family of
Mm-hmm.
origin, and
Mm-hmm.
have done a lot of work to get to this place. And I appreciate them for everything.
Yeah.
The good, the hard,
I'm
the
not trying to get you to throw him under the bus.
I'm not going to throw him under the bus. But you're a good psychotherapist over there. Just tying it back to the childhood. Yeah, absolutely. It was learned. It was what I just thought. That's what I thought everybody, did. Like, you put on some masks, and then you go out into the world, and you have a smile on your face, and you present like you got your shit together, and you don't talk about, you don't air your dirty laundry. Like, you don't do that.
Right.
You keep that, you hold it, and then God knows what you do with it. But then it just ends up, taking over in a way. So, yes, I learned how to be a good girl
Mm-hmm.
that didn't burden anyone with any of my problems.
Mm-hmm.
So even going to therapy for the first time was like, like a big deal opening
Right.
up. Like, it took me years to even open up.
You
to my
weren't used to
therapist.
taking up that much space. Like, it was like,
It's interesting words that you use, Ben, because I wasn't used to taking up that much space, although I love to act and I love to perform, and but I wasn't used to taking up that much emotional space.
Right.
Physically, that was another, if you want to talk about shifts, I was like living in a body twice the size of the body I live in today.
Really?
Yeah. When I started therapy. A little bit less when I started therapy. But yeah, I was taking up a lot of space. But I wasn't conscious of it, and I wasn't taking up the space I really needed to take up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sharing from my heart and sharing the difficulties. Now it's part of my healing is to share more authentically. And like I would have never done anything like this in the past unless I was playing a character.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like I'm playing a character. You'll have to tell me.
No, at least not so far. I'm not getting any of that. Seems like you.
Yeah, it's me. Um I would have been so like deathly afraid to share authentically. I think afraid of rejection, afraid of not getting validation,
Mm-hmm.
afraid of being alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, people are going to see this and not like me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, that's one of the things that happens when we become addicted to validation is we believe, at least I'll speak for myself, that the stakes are so high that there's a message or there's a thing that I'm going to do that will get the response that I want,
mm,
and there's a thing that I will do potentially that would make everyone disappear.
I have the power.
Right.
I am the higher power.
Right.
That's the
Right.
message I got, that I have that kind of like control and power over others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really thought that other people's feelings were based off of how I behaved. Like I had the control. Other people's behaviors were based off of how I felt,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I felt like I had that kind of power.
So that must have been challenging going to therapy because all of a sudden you have this therapist or this environment where
Yeah.
you're being encouraged to bring forth of a part of you that is separate from others.
Mm.
It's not connected to I do this for you or I do this to keep you safe. Now you're being encouraged to just speak about your own experience and what you're going through. So I can understand. I mean, does that resonate what I just said in any way?
Yeah, there was not any conscious part of me that thought I do have any of those parts that are not connected to other.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't in my consciousness, if that makes sense. Like I had no idea that I had my own thought,
Mm-hmm.
that I could have that.
Mm-hmm.
It was so like I was so enmeshed and merged with people. Um, and I thought that was like loving.
Now, did you find yourself enmeshed and merged with all different types of people in your life, or was it typically just a romantic partner?
It was mostly romantic. But I have felt that way about family members, and some friends too. Yeah, I don't really discriminate.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anyone. Yeah, but mostly romantic partners. I think that was the most challenging place to learn that like I can be me and you can be you, and we can like be two individuals and still hold on to our own self and choose to be with one another,
Mm-hmm.
but not merge
Mm-hmm.
and have a difference of opinion and difference in desire and wants and needs. Because I would, I got really good at like manipulating my way through relationships. Like I will be what I think you want me to be. And then I would feel trapped and feel like there was nowhere to go and look for a escape route. It was very much like, here's your hat, what's your hurry kind of thing. Like,
Mm-hmm. And what kind of escape routes would you find?
oh, other people, affairs, um, yeah, doesn't sex, emotional affairs, doesn't, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
um, but present like a good partner, but feeling kind of like impinged and overwhelmed because I created this dynamic with people. Like I would create like, I want to be around you all the time, and don't leave, but then get kind of suffocated, feel
Mm-hmm.
suffocated, not really know that I was feeling suffocated. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, like when the lights went out, then I would go out
Mm-hmm.
and it could be, yeah, it could be people, it could be drinking, it could be weed, it could be food. It doesn't really matter what it is, but people mostly.
Mm-hmm. And then what? How are we
Oh,
here and
how
seeing
are we
you in
here?
this thriving life? Like,
Oh gosh.
what
Mm.
changed?
I found a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and she had the humility that I thought was really attractive, and I wanted. And I asked her to mentor me, and she said, "I don't know." And I was like, "What? How could you say you don't know?" And she said, "I want to get to know you first. Let's go for coffee."
Mm-hmm.
And I had never had anyone kind of put like a gentle boundary on me like that. Like she didn't say no, she didn't say yes. And that opened up like a whole space of like nuance. Like you don't have to overcommit to something if you don't want to. Um, and it's okay to not know things. I think I didn't know up until that point that I could say I don't know. Like I was such a people pleaser.
Right. Right.
Um, or if I didn't want to do like I would do it really harshly, you know. Um,
What do you mean?
like if I would use mostly my default would be to say yes and then resent the person and myself, but I would be passive aggressive.
You
um
mean yes if someone asks you to do something?
yeah, if someone asked me to do something,
Right.
yes, of course, sure,
Mm-hmm.
and then like begrudgingly do it
Mm-hmm.
because I just never checked in with myself.
Right.
And this, like what she said when she said I don't know, it was like such a great way to model, um to pause, like, you know, postpone action until serenity emerges.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite acronyms. And it's okay, and ask yourself, like, check in, like, what do I feel? What do I want? Like, separate myself from what I think the other person feels and wants.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, I needed to like physically actually like go into a different room and ask myself, like, what do I want? It's much easier now, but it's taken a long time.
And how did you begin to cultivate that ability to hear yourself?
Mm. A lot of sitting in silence, like a lot of quiet time, um, which kind of drove me nuts at first. Like, these thoughts, it's like when you first start meditating and there's just like so many thoughts coming at you, me. But I like just to stay past that point of like, this is uncomfortable. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would get to the point of discomfort with most things and then reach for something, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
reach for someone. And this was an exercise, a practice. She really taught me, and many other people taught me, how to like stay just another beat. Like it's not so bad on the other end. And like then I built some capacity to be with myself.
I love that word.
Yeah, me
You
too.
increased your
I
capacity.
increased my capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do somatic experiencing, and that's all about like
You
I practice it.
you
I mean,
practice.
I was a client of it. I still am a client of it. I'm still with that same therapist 20
Okay.
years later.
Wow.
Yeah, she's incredible. And so I was a client. I am a client for many years, and then I took the training, and now I practice it on the other end as a therapist. And that's all about building capacity for discomfort. That like to we have the innate capacity inside of us, I believe, to heal ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I just like over years of just learning how to like deny that voice, that you
Mm-hmm.
were talking about, to not listen, to run away from it, to be afraid of it, and just many layers of experiences that like made it so I didn't want to get down there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, learning to kind of start to peel back those layers and sit like just another beat longer, like a half a second longer.
How does somatic therapy help to cultivate that capacity?
Well, it
I don't know
helped.
much about somatic
Oh,
therapy.
let me tell you.
Yeah,
You
please.
gotta know. It's really good. You're gonna love this because
I've heard. I mean, it's kind of hands on, right?
it can be hands
Yeah.
on. It's about the body, like soma is the body. Um, and it's about like feeling, sensing your bodily sensations, your experience inside. So, in order to do that, for most of us, we need to kind of quiet down a little bit and actually sense and listen. So, you know, I might be asked something like, "So, what do I notice like in my chest? What do you notice in your chest right now, Ben?"
Right now, I feel a little gripping.
Mhm.
kind of like a tightness in my chest, not super tight, but a little bit. And
Yeah.
I feel that a lot.
It's familiar.
Yeah, it's typically right here and right here,
Mm.
and sometimes right here.
Oh, right in your, okay. Kind of third eye area.
Yep,
Where do you feel the opposite of that?
I feel the opposite of it in my belly.
How would you describe it?
Feels just like space, spacious.
Spacious. Yeah.
Yeah, no real gripping. Just feels open.
Hmm.
Feels kind of, it feels vast.
So, could you stay there for another moment with your awareness? Even when thoughts come in, could you just stay there in this vastness, spaciousness, openness of your belly?
You're asking me a real
I'm
question?
asking you. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
asking you.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
So that's how we build capacity in somatic experiencing. We notice what's uncomfortable or tight or constricted,
Mhm.
and then we notice what's not. And we can pendulate back and forth between the two
Mm.
and start to give this area, the uncomfortable area, like the idea that, oh, this can help me down here. I have it in me to help something that's not so comfortable.
Mm.
I'm not all gripping, right?
Right, right.
And, and then other techniques and stuff, but basically to learn that, like, I am not my pain, and I do have
It's a big
room.
one.
Is a big
And
one.
I think that's a hard one for a lot of people.
Merging with pain.
Yeah, merging with it, also recognizing that it isn't them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big one.
Like,
Talk
I
about a
mean,
shift.
yeah, that's a whole nother probably topic of a conversation, but it's like the I am of like, what am I?
Yeah.
What am I experiencing versus what am I? What am I thinking versus what am I? When I first read Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now,
Yeah.
and he talked about becoming the witnesser,
Mhm.
learning to be able to see the thought and the person and the thinker and separate your at first when I was reading it, I mean, I think I was ready at
Yeah.
the time to read it because I had just gotten sober. I put all the stuff down, and I was hungry. I was in that place where I had more bandwidth, and I was
Mm.
looking for something that was going to replace all the bullshit, right? And he has a whole section about the pain body,
Mhm.
talking about that, like
Yeah.
acknowledging how, because I remember when I used to get injured, anytime that I would get injured, I couldn't think about anything else.
Mhm.
I would just be depressed. I got a sprained ankle. I can't go to the gym. I can't do the things that I normally want to do. I'm injured, right? It
Yeah.
was like, and I remember there was a period of time I was like 30, and I was dating this woman who I was with for 4 years. And I remember one day she was just like, dude, get over it. She was like, every time, she's like, you play football, you play all these activities, you go and you get hurt. And then every time you get hurt, all you do is bitch and moan about how hurt you are. And it's annoying. Stop doing it. And she's like, if you're going to keep complaining, just stop going out and playing these sports. And I remember that was a shift for me for some reason, hearing her say that. I don't know. I don't think I had the ability to articulate why,
Mhm.
but I think as I was reading Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, years later, something was happening as I was reading that section where I was remembering her saying that to me. And somehow, like, I've had chronic lower back pain for the last 7 years of my life, pretty much as long
Mm.
as I've been sober. And I don't identify with it. I have an amazing life.
Mhm.
I'm not sitting here thinking to myself, my life sucks because my back hurts.
Yeah. Amen.
So anyway,
Uh,
back to you. You were talking about your somatic experience and how you were increasing your capacity, learning
yes.
to increase your capacity,
Yes.
and how getting quiet became a really vital part of this journey for you,
Yeah.
of not reaching for the thing to escape the discomfort.
Yes. Yes.
And then
I have a lot of like discomfort in my body at times. I had COVID really badly in 2020, March, and I had a near death experience. And I totally left my body. I mean, it was in so much pain for, I don't know. It was about a 12-day experience, but the worst was probably like 3 or 4 days. And I was begging and praying for God to take me. Like, I just don't want to be here anymore. It was so painful.
Wow.
And I was alone. I was alone. And this was after being sober for many years. But I knew how to be alone. I had practiced that. But during that time, that was so difficult. And to come back and then be in a body that was like so pained all the time because it turned into long COVID and all these issues. Um, it was so important that I really put some space between me and it. Like, I am not my pain. I'm not that experience either. I am, well, I am I am loving awareness. That's what I'm getting to. I'm doing this class with Jack Kornfield and Ram Dass. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Of course.
Um, and their teachings are so important because they're all about like this is our incarnation right now, right? Like, I am not this body. I am not my struggles. I am love.
I'm reading Remember Be Here Now right now, his book,
Oh,
and I'm almost
you
done with it.
are?
Yeah.
What do you think so
It's
far? It's
unbelievable.
unbelievable, right?
I mean, it's what all the greats, they kind of have some version of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like Eckhart Tolle says all of the, I mean, in Buddhism says the
Buddhism.
same thing. It's
That's
like the
Buddhism. Yeah.
suffering is in the mind. The detach when you're in the present moment and truly in the present moment, you kind of naturally detach
Yeah.
because there isn't anything else.
There's nothing there. I mean, he says vast emptiness. Like,
Right.
it's a vast emptiness, but not empty in like our, Western mind. Like, I'm so, hungry for something. Like,
Right.
it's like a spaciousness.
Yep.
That's how I interpret it. But
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
so that whole like post COVID really kicked up a lot of shit for me. And
In what way?
I felt depressed, for the first time in many years, and lost. Like, what's the point? What? Because I had had this experience um, of like, talk about beauty. Like, when I was feeling like the most pain, something happened and I left and I went to the space. I don't even know I had no body. I was not an I. I was not a me. Like, it was colors and it was I don't really know how to put language to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it felt like pure bliss. I could have been like, I lost a lot of oxygen. Who knows? Like, I
Right.
could have just been out of it. Um, but it felt like
Or it could have been something.
or it could have been something
Yeah.
else. Maybe I'll find out one day.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all will. It was so beautiful and peaceful, and it was familiar, but new at the same time. It was all of it, right? It was like big and also like really small, and then I came kind of shooting back to my body, and I was on my bed, drenched in sweat, 106 fever, super sick. Like, why am I here? I kept asking myself, like, why? Why? I didn't want to be here anymore. And I had never felt that. Like, I'd never gotten that depressed where I didn't want to be here. So that was another shift of,
So it was a combination of depression and the physical pain that you were in from being sick that made you literally feel like you were ready to go.
I was ready to go. If that's what was on the other side, oh, take me there now. Um, but I think I was having a hard time, like, really integrating that experience. So, I mean,
Integrating.
that trauma and that whatever it was, like leaving my body and, I don't know, having a near death experience. I didn't know how to make sense of it. And then I didn't
You
know,
mean
like,
after you got better?
after I came out of it and like the world kind of started opening a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you were still in a place of feeling a lot of depression after you had gotten
yeah.
better from the COVID, and
And I'm
now,
sober and I'm like, what? I'm
right,
doing all the things. Why is
right,
this not working?
right.
Why is this not working? thankfully I had, I've collected in my arsenal a lot of like witchy women and like a lot of mentors that have helped me immensely. And so like I called on my team and um, learned that like I mean I'm always a believer of this, but everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
I just didn't always know that I don't necessarily know what that reason is, and I don't have to know. I can just trust like it was meant to be. So like every moment is meant to be the way it is. If I'm living in reality, if I'm living in acceptance.
Mhm.
Does that sound cheesy?
No,
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't sound cheesy because I know you believe it.
Yeah, so that was another big shift. Like at that point I was like, "Oh, maybe I don't want to be a therapist. What's the point of all this?"
So you were
And
at that point, this is 2020,
yep.
and you're on the journey to becoming a therapist.
Oh, I was already a
You were
therapist.
already a
Yeah,
therapist.
for 10 years.
Okay.
I had
You
a private practice. I did a lot of assistant teaching for the Somatic Experiencing Institute, Trauma Institute. I was a sex therapist. Yeah, I had ended a partnership of like almost 5 years, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. With my, I mean, I was just going to do the next thing, and then COVID happened, like almost immediately after I ended that partnership and changed my life.
so the relationship ending, you getting COVID, you being depressed
Yeah.
was kind of the all these things that happened and those and what changed your life? How did your life change?
I started to share about that experience with people that I really trusted because I
Mm-hmm.
think I was a little bit shy to share, thinking people were going to think it was crazy or like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You were
The
just
near
really
death
sick. The
experience
near
you're
death
referring
experience.
to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a big, big shift. I started sharing honestly about that and people just started saying, yeah, that's what a lot of people say when that stuff happens. Like you're not alone there. And I started reading books about it and I started praying a lot more. And my meditation practice kind of like it got really it pumped up a lot. Um and writing, journaling. I started
Mm-hmm.
doing this practice called two-way prayer. Basically, you kind of sit and you write down a question to God, to your higher power, universe, source, whatever, to your highest self. Just write down one question. And I remember someone said, one question, God is not on trial. So just one question. And then you sit silent and you write the answer, whatever it is that comes to your mind. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to like align with that question. You just write what you hear. But you have to quiet yourself enough to hear that, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that and you share it with another person. And they look at it and they tell you if it's honest, if it's not in your ego, basically.
If what you wrote is not in your ego and if it's honest, it would have to be someone you really trust to
Really
even put
trust.
that on them
Yeah.
because someone could read it and be like, it doesn't seem honest, and you could be like, fuck you, it's
Yeah,
honest.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it felt honest when I wrote it, so I'm assuming that the only people that you probably had a very select few or people that one person who you
I
would
had one at the
ask
time. Yeah.
to read that.
Yes. Yes. I asked a very good, dear friend of mine who was a mentor, essentially. And she and I started exchanging because they call it two-way, you're you're sharing with someone else. They have their eyes on it and they're reflecting back to you what they hear and see and holding you kind of like accountable and making sure it's coming from your heart and not your head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that really helped me get in touch with myself and my higher power and out of what I thought I should be doing, like the
Mm-hmm.
shoulding all over myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big shift for me. Another way that I could connect to myself more and not just to like the depression or
Mm-hmm.
the aches and pains or the fatigue that I was feeling. Um, yeah.
It sounds like a really powerful way to cultivate a relationship with a power greater than yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never done that.
Try it.
Yeah. No, it sounds,
We can exchange. It's very
oh, right.
beautiful, actually. It's really to hear people's fears. I mean, really, I would write about a lot of my fears, you know.
But you write a
You
question
write a question,
that you are seeking.
some kind of like support around or answer or guidance, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, and you listen to what you hear a response is.
So I could write. And am I addressing it to God or am I just writing the question?
Um, you can address it to God. I do. But it's, you know, everybody has different beliefs. So
Right.
if you believe in God, yeah, dear God, dear God.
So, dear God, I could write, am I going to be a father?
Mm, yes.
And then I just sit quietly.
You sit quietly and you hear, like, not from your ego, super ego, whatever. You hear from the most loving place in you. So it might sound like your voice, it might not. Like mine is oftentimes like, dear God, like, what will you have me do today? Or how will you guide me today? You know, and the response is often like, oh, dear little one, or hi, honey. Like it's a very endearing response.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not like, get your freaking laundry done.
Right, right,
Because
right.
that's what I say to myself, you know, like you
Right.
should really clean up. And that's not
That's not it.
God.
No,
It's not
no,
God.
that's the ego.
Yeah, that's the ego.
Right. What's happening to me is like I'm seeing your journey, right? Like all the somatic and the two-way prayer, they're all part of your shift, right? They
Yes.
all became these tools that you used
Yeah.
that kind of accumulated over time to go from this place where you were giving someone anti-anxiety pills on the train to a place where you're in a way different. Your life circumstances are completely different now, right? Because
Yes.
often our life experience does reflect what we have going on internally.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so your life experience externally was reflecting this chaos that you had going on inside,
Yeah, so much.
and then you have this journey of working with this mentor, meditation, this near death experience, this two-way prayer,
Yeah.
these groups that you're a part of,
Sobriety.
getting sober.
Yeah, getting sober.
Now, what did you need to get sober from? It was booze, it was people?
Yeah.
Was it mainly those two things?
Food.
Food?
Food. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, food. Yeah, people, relationships.
What did food sobriety look like to you? I mean, what did you need to what was that?
Oh man, because that's like our first. I mean, that's nourishment, right? We
Right.
can't go. I mean, you
You
could live
gotta
without.
eat.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta eat. You gotta eat.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta
gotta
eat. You gotta
eat.
drink
Yep.
water at least.
Yep.
You gotta eat. You got. You know. You could go without sex, although I don't recommend it. But
Right.
you know, unless you're in a withdrawal period.
Right. We
But
need to talk about that.
we talk about that.
I want to get into the sex
We can get into the
therapist
sex
thing.
thing,
Yeah.
yes. But food, everybody needs to eat, right? If you're gonna keep living. So that's a tricky one. And it was in my family, food is love. In many families, in many cultures, in my culture, it's love. So it was really hard for me to like negotiate like eating enough, you know, and feeding myself like nourishing foods,
Mm-hmm.
not addictive foods.
Mm-hmm.
And what is my motivation like in this moment? Like, what am I actually feeling that makes me want to reach for that, whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I trying to feed inside that's like this God sized hole?
Mm-hmm. So you were noticing a correlation between the discomfort and the way you would reach for people, or the way you would reach for booze and the way you would reach for food.
Yeah.
And you were starting to ask the questions about what is this impulse to want to grab for this thing, that thing, or this thing coming from.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Or weed.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the most kind of in sneaky one that I, um,
Sneaky?
well, you know, like in, you can be California sober, right?
Right, right,
Which means you smoke weed. A lot
right,
of people smoke weed. It's not a big deal, you
right.
know. You smell it all over the street. It's legal
Mm-hmm.
in many places. But that one was, oh, okay, so that was like an accessory to the food. Like that was
Of
codependent with the
course.
food, right? Like they
Munchies.
go together, the
Yeah,
munchies.
right.
And then it's so I smoke so I can eat something yummy. And then I'm trying to think because I know I started this with like the 16 years ago when I met that mentor and started sharing. And then after talking openly about some of my life, she suggested that like I maybe look at my drinking. Like, I'm not calling you a alcoholic or anything. Just, look at the motivation around your drinking. And then there was a pattern. The drinking, always like at night, always outside, usually at a party, to excess,
Mm-hmm.
and always in relationship to another human, like that I maybe
Mm.
didn't know.
Mm.
And making decisions I would not make when I wasn't drinking.
So tell me how, as a sex therapist,
Yeah.
first of all, tell me a little bit about that. What kind of stuff do you help people with?
Yeah, I help people with their getting in touch with their sexuality, like that it is a big part of a lot of our vitality,
Mm-hmm.
and help people learn about their own pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I work with couples, and when I work
Strictly or
no, not strictly, but in addition to individuals, and couples often have a desire discrepancy. Like one person wants to have more sex or a different type of sex than the other person. And what do we do? Because other things are working in our relationship, but this
mm-hmm.
part isn't. Um, People who are addicted to sex
Mm-hmm.
and having a hard time bringing an emotional intimacy along with the physical intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of like separate those, which
Mm-hmm.
not always a problem, but if it is for that person, then that's what we work on.
And
Sexual trauma.
how would you work on that? I
On
mean,
bringing those two together?
yeah. I mean, I guess I'll just I'll just
Just tell me.
yeah. I mean, I'll get a free therapy session
Oh,
out of
yeah,
this.
yeah.
So I've been broken up with my ex-girlfriend for 8 months,
Hmm.
right? And in those 8 months, I have not slept with anybody because I haven't met anyone that, I'm 46 years old. I want to be a husband. I want to be a father. So there's a part of me where I don't want to engage in old behaviors. I don't want to activate an older version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if I really want to be a husband and I want to be a dad, don't engage sexually in something that could potentially pull you away from that, from
Mm-hmm.
cultivating that energy within, right? The
Mm-hmm.
father husband energy, whatever whatever that is.
Yeah.
But then there's this other part of me that's like, bro, it's been 8 months. Like, I
A
want to
boy's
get
got needs.
a boy's got needs, and I don't know how to really navigate that. To be honest with
Mm.
you, I don't know if I know how to have spiritual casual sex.
Mm.
Because it feels like in the past, casual sex was a drug.
Yeah.
It was something that I used like a narcotic.
Mm-hmm.
And it also was something that I used to keep distance. It lacked vulnerability.
Yeah.
It lacked a true heart connection. So the idea of having casual sex with vulnerability and spirituality and connection feels pretend.
Mm.
Like we're pretending to be something that we're really not. Like at the end of the day, we're just fucking. Let's just
Uh-huh.
call it that.
Okay.
Like that's what a part of my brain says. So I would love, as a sex therapist, I would love to hear your opinion on that.
Did it not feel like that with your ex-girlfriend? Did it feel like you were pretending, or you were
No,
okay?
no, because it
Okay.
wasn't casual.
Because it wasn't casual.
No,
What made it not casual?
because we were in love and we were talking about life together and marriage and her moving in, and I mean, there was a partnership
Yeah.
vibe about the relationship that was very different from, oh, this is just like my girl that I kick it with sometimes. It was
Yeah.
like I was mentally building a life. We were building a life together. We were making plans, and for a period of time when the relationship was really good, we were really like doing life together. So it felt different.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't. And yeah, we would play sometimes and have sex in ways that didn't necessarily feel like, oh, it wasn't like, sometimes we would fuck, you know
Uh-huh.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was great. But we always knew that there was that, cuddling after, and then we would go in our robes and we would make food in the kitchen, and it was want to lay down and watch a movie, and then
Yeah.
wake up the next day and walk and hold hands in the park and go and talk about money stuff. Like we it was like there were no limits. It wasn't like we don't go there. The whole thing, it was all there. So the idea of me going and hanging out with a woman now that I know I'm not going to want to build a life with, and that knows that she doesn't want to build a life with me, there is a part of me that feels like it's only prolonging my process of getting to the real thing.
That's possible, but it's also possible. I mean, you don't really know until you try, right?
Yeah, I
It
guess.
it sounds like you had emotional intimacy with your
Absolutely.
ex-girlfriend, and that's really important.
Yeah.
And that it's hard to have, you're saying it's hard to have that with someone you don't know, right? Because emotional intimacy often is built over time and trust. So I think it depends on what you want. Are you looking for like a spiritual connection during sex with someone you just met?
No, I think I just really want a wife.
You want a wife?
I want a wife. It's like there's one voice that says I want a wife, and then there's another voice that says, yeah, but it's been 8 months.
And
So
what? It's been 8 months and what?
you need to go have sex with someone. And I'm not doing that because that doesn't feel like it's
Fulfilling.
part of my path. It just doesn't feel like that. And I think there's also fear. There's fear in reverting back to an old version of myself.
Yeah.
There's fear that if I were to go meet someone, have a nice cup of coffee or whatever, and we're like looking at each other and we can feel the sparks, and we're like, you know what, I know you're only visiting New York for a month, but you know, let's hook up for a month and then you leave and it's cool. There's a part of me that's like, well, no, that's going to bring you, I'm afraid that it would bring me back to this version of myself that no longer is carrying that husband, father energy that I feel like I've been cultivating, or I'm now in this place where I want the woman that I meet that's looking for that too, to be like, yep, you're him.
You're him.
You're him. I feel it on you. I smell it on you. I'm in it with you. There's a part of me that feels like, well, if I go and just hook up with some woman that I'm not really feeling that way about, and then I'm walking around with that energy activated in me, I could be sitting across from my person and she's gonna be like, you ain't my person.
Because it's like all of your focus is over there.
Yeah.
What about all the work that you've done to have that wife energy and those desires of wanting like a real partner? You think those just like...
I think there's a part of me that does. There's a part of me that is afraid that with like one wrong move, it's all fucking gone.
So it sounds like it would feel more fragile than it actually seems to me. Like it doesn't just go away, right? Unless you don't want it anymore. Although, relapse is a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to kind of check yourself. But what do you do when you go into a potentially triggering situation? Like, I mean, call your mentors, right? You kind of bookend stuff. You keep yourself accountable. You're doing things differently than you would do
Absolutely.
pre-sobriety.
Yes, absolutely.
So
I
it's
have
different.
way more tools.
I think it depends on the person. I was concerned about something similar, and I think what I learned is that it's what is fulfilling. What do I want in those moments? Like, what do I actually want in those moments? Can I check in with my body again? And do I want like an emotional and a physical and a sexual connection with someone that's honest and real? Like, that doesn't feel like it's coming from an acting out place for me. You know what I mean? That doesn't feel like I'm trying to, like I'm trying to fill something. Like it doesn't feel like a hole that I need someone else to meet,
See, and I have a thought on that.
Okay.
Because I think, to me, the worst way that I can act out in acting out in whatever way, like with whatever drug, meaning it could be, whether it was to be with, booze or a person or whatever, would be me choosing to engage in a thing because I am trying to escape an unwanted feeling.
Yes.
Right? To me, that's always the worst one.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's sending a message to myself that I can't handle this without this thing. However, I could choose to engage in something not from that place and still get high. right?
Mm.
Like meaning
Yeah. What's the
my
high?
ex-girlfriend who I was with for 2 years, I didn't get high
Yeah.
in the relationship.
Yeah.
I loved her. She loved me. It was safe. I didn't feel myself getting high. I didn't treat her in any way. She was not a drug or a narcotic to me in any way, shape, or form. Other women that I've been with in the past that
Mm-hmm.
have been casual or whatever, you know, maybe pre-sobriety,
Yeah.
the laying there together, the sex, the post sex, it felt like I was on drugs.
Mm.
So it wasn't necessarily I wasn't actively escaping something,
Yeah.
but I was loving the high and wanting more of that, as opposed to something that was, so it almost kind of felt like if I'm starving and I go outside and I go and get an iced cinnamon bun, you know what I mean, and I take a bite of it, I'm like, oh fuck, that's so goddamn
Yeah.
good, you know what I mean, and I want to eat it and I want more of it. Now I might not be escaping anything to go get the cinnamon bun, I might just
Mm-hmm.
be hungry, right? I'm
Yeah.
hungry, I'm gonna go eat the cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
But I chose to eat something that was not nourishing. I didn't choose to eat, you know, chicken breast and kale and brown rice. I went for an iced cinnamon bun, and the
Yeah.
cinnamon bun is getting me fucking high.
Mm.
So
And that's the slippery slope.
that's, I wonder,
Yeah.
if it's the slippery slope, because if I get
Mm.
used to just continuously getting high or engaging in something that is getting me high, then when I go into to be a part of the grilled chicken and brown rice and kale, it's gonna be
Is
like,
it?
this is kind of fucking boring.
Mm.
I worry about that.
You
I
worry
don't
that it will.
know that that's
Yeah.
going to happen. There is this fear in the back of my mind that
Yeah.
tells me you better stay sober. You
Mm.
better stay sober and stay on your spiritual path, because if you deviate at all, it could all go to shit.
Yeah. So it is fear-based.
Yeah. Why do we turn this? Do we just switch roles?
That's what we do.
Yeah, I
It is
guess.
fear-based.
Yeah. No, it's fear based. Absolutely.
What does your higher power say?
I think I'm unclear on what my higher power says.
That's where you are.
Yeah.
You don't know. So what do we do when we don't know anything? Or we don't.
Don't take action.
Yeah. Don't take action until you get more information. What I would say to people that I mentor, yeah, they're my
Mhm.
mentee. I would say, okay, so not to encourage either way, like doing this or not doing this, but let's say you do it, like play the tape, right? You do it and you share with me that you've done that and you felt high. Okay, so the world has not ended, right? You get right back up and you put all of the things in place that you need to put in place. And you just one step at a time now,
Mhm.
right? You're human.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's, what everybody would say, but that's kind of what I'm learning, I think, in this is like discernment and to be a spiritual being in a human body, like I am living a human life. It's like that. I don't know. Jack Cornfield wrote that book that like ecstasy and then the laundry. Like, it's we're both, right? So if it's a mistake, maybe that's a mistake you were supposed to have.
Mhm.
And if you don't have that experience, then that's the experience you were supposed to have.
Mhm.
I don't know if that feels like a little meta, but
No, 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 no. It doesn't. I mean, most of the things that I don't say most, every experience that I've ever had, there's nothing that I regret.
me too.
Zero.
Same.
Everything I've experienced up until this point, I have gotten something from it.
That is beautiful. What a great way to live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I have such gratitude for that moment in the train, right?
Right.
I would not be sitting here
Right.
if I didn't have that. I mean, I don't know where I would be, but that, and for that person that was struggling and was sharing their struggles with
Mhm.
me.
So you've given us, I mean, just through the way that you're speaking and the information that you have, and you're telling us a lot. I mean, you're telling me a lot about where you're at, and it seems like you're in a really beautiful place. You have a tremendous amount of clarity, availability, and you seem very
Mm.
comfortable in your own skin. How would you? How would you? Where would you say you are now
Mm.
concerning these shifts that you've had, and maybe what shifts you hope to continue to have. Like,
Mm.
is there anything that what's going really, really well for you, and what maybe are you still seeing some struggles with?
Well, thank you for saying all that. I appreciate that. I'm trying to receive. That's also what I'm working on, is
Mm-hmm.
just receiving. I think kind of what I was saying before, like I'm learning how to, like if I take a bite of that cinnamon roll, not beat myself up,
Mm-hmm.
but don't go out and get another one either that
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
To have some balance without being so restrictive
Mm-hmm.
to like either end, you know? Yeah, work out, go to the gym, but I might not have to go every single day
Right.
super hard, give my
Right.
muscles a chance to breathe. So I'm in a partnership and I don't have to see that partner every single day, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Yeah, and sex. Sex can be so many things. Like my sexuality, I define as like very open, pansexual. Like I love humans. I don't, if I fall in love with a human, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily their anatomy
Okay.
or how they present or anything like that. And so that's kind of, sometimes I think it's a blessing and a curse, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much to choose from.
Right. Right.
Um, but also like what is feeling right to me in that moment. So yeah, living somewhere in the middle and that not feeling boring,
Mm-hmm.
like that can be exciting, which I always had this idea that like, stability is like, wah, wah.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels good. Um,
Are you and your partner monogamous?
we're monogamish.
Monogamish.
Monogamish because, I do love women too.
Uh-huh.
And my partner used to be in a poly marriage and decided like that really wasn't their thing. Like they were kind of in it to get out of a marriage. So
Mm-hmm.
um but yeah, so having discussions about like, okay, what does this look like? And
Mm-hmm.
in sobriety, sobriety can be black and white in many ways, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that works for a lot of things and people. And for things for me, black and white. Like, but in this way, it's not so black and white. So I'm
Mm.
kind of learning how to like live in the rainbow in between.
Right.
Keep myself honest because I still, that part is still there. That like sneaky part. Um,
But doesn't the monogamish give you the ability to not have to be sneaky?
exactly. Yes, it does. But that's the thing, right? Like the sneakiness is what is also enticing.
Right.
And
Oh,
like
interesting.
the word like intrigue. That
Mm-hmm.
was one thing that when I started to kind of like on this path of sobriety, like to define intrigue, like what is intrigue?
What is intrigue?
What is intrigue? What
I'm
is
asking you.
I know, what is intrigue? It means so many different things. For me, it meant appearing to be more available than I actually was
Mm.
and like knowing that. So like flirting with someone when I'm in a monogamous relationship and and like getting really, really close to like giving them my number or
Mm-hmm. See, this is
um
way too much for my brain. I can't
it
I
is?
can't handle monogamy. I mean, no, I mean like I can have this
Oh,
conversation,
okay.
but
Okay.
I couldn't handle, at least at this stage of my life, a monogamish relationship. I would be too
Yeah.
the idea of it makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, and it can, and I think a lot of I walk some people like couples through like this in my work, and they stop because it gets too complicated and it's hard. Like even outside of a sobriety situation, people that don't have addiction issues, um, it is complicated. It can be. It's more work in some ways, um, but it can also be very freeing and open and honest and loving and yeah, and like we create boundaries. So it's not like a free for all, like there's a lot of relationships that are just like, just open and you just do
Mm-hmm.
what you want. That doesn't work for me either.
Right.
So
So there's a lot of communication.
a lot of communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shifting sometimes. Like, oh, I was comfortable with that last week, but I'm not comfortable with that this week.
Oh.
So how's that? Okay, let's talk about it. So that's working for me right now. Like that relationship is working
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of things are going well. Still like learning where I end and the other person begins in terms of like helping my family and My partner has 3 kids from his previous marriage, and um, just learning how to put my oxygen mask on first. And
Mhm.
again, like kind of coming back to the full circle, like
Mhm.
it's not my job to
Right.
save anyone. It's not my place to even say that someone needs saving, you know?
Right.
I'm no one's higher power.
Right.
So
Including
that's
your own.
including my own. Yeah. Yeah, I have something bigger than me. Yeah, that's really important. But I slip sometimes in that realm, like I overwork or overdo and then have to get back and remember, like, take care of my body, take care of
Mhm.
my own self first. So that's like an ongoing thing.
Well, I think probably for most of us. And if we're
Yeah,
lucky, we get to do that work forever,
forever.
as we shift and grow and get older and the
Mm,
world changes and all these things, there's always going to be more opportunities for us to examine something we're doing in a new way.
yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm always going to be doing that.
Yeah. I mean, God willing, I will always
God
be,
willing.
yeah, very blessed to be able to do that. To be awake,
Absolutely.
right? To
Yeah.
like live awake.
Yep.
I lived like I was like sleepwalking a lot of my life. It's good to be awake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you,
This
Ben.
was great. Really,
Yeah.
really great.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for doing this. You're
Absolutely.
so brave.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I am, but I'm really I want not everyone chooses to go to recovery. Not everyone chooses to go to a program to get, sober off of some particular substance or sex act or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they don't need this
Yeah.
and that they're not actually available for it.
Right.
That there isn't some sort of a conversation or a place that people could go where they could hear something to be like, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to go to a room or a rehab or whatever, but I do have this thing, and it is helpful for me to hear people talk about things that have helped them along the way
Mm.
because, you know,
We need each other.
we need each other. Absolutely.
We need each other. Yeah. And what do they say? The opposite of addiction is connection.
Connection. The opposite of addiction is
Yeah.
connection.
So let's just keep connecting.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Thank you. Peace.